On number 15, we have the tightrope competition, a breathtaking spectacle that takes place in China's Hunan province. Unlike the circus performances you might be familiar with, this is a full-on competitive event where participants test their balance, courage, and sheer willpower. The wire stretches almost 3,000 feet long and hangs 100 feet above a lake, with no safety nets or guide ropes in sight. It's just the competitor, their balance pole, and a whole lot of nerve. What makes it even more intense is that the contest isn't just about staying upright. It's a race. Participants are timed to see who can make it across the fastest. Some of them don't just walk, they run, sprinting along the wire at unbelievable speeds. Of course, this kind of confidence comes with risk, and many don't make it to the other side. One competitor famously slipped, ending up with a leg on each side of the wire before somehow pulling himself back up to finish the challenge. A moment that stunned the crowd. But others weren't as fortunate, plunging into the lake below. And while falling into water might sound safe, hitting it from that height is like slamming into concrete. Painful, dangerous, but undeniably thrilling. This competition shows just how far people will go in the pursuit of balance and bravery. Number 14, lion saves wildebeest. Lions are often seen as the fierce rulers of the African plains, feared by nearly every other creature in their domain. But every now and then, nature surprises us by showing a softer side, even from its most powerful predators. In this extraordinary footage, a young wildebeest finds itself isolated from its herd, surrounded by a pack of hungry hyenas closing in for the kill. The frightened calf runs in frantic circles, unsure where to go, while the hyenas tighten their grip, ready to strike. Despite its desperation, the wildebeest manages to dodge a few attacks, but exhaustion begins to set in, and it's clear the end is near. Then, just when all hope seems lost, a lion appears on the scene. The hyenas pause, expecting the lion to finish off their prey, but to everyone's shock, the big cat turns on them instead. It charges straight at the pack, overpowering the lead hyena and forcing the rest to scatter. The rescued wildebeest stands trembling nearby, confused but safe. What happens next is even more astonishing. Later, as the lion rests in the shade, the young wildebeest approaches and gently nuzzles against it. Rather than attacking, the lion stays calm, allowing the calf to sit beside it as if it were its own cub. A rare, heartwarming moment that defies the brutal image we usually associate with life in the wild. Number 13, iceberg calving. If you ever spend enough time observing the edge of a glacier, you might witness one of nature's most awe-inspiring spectacles, an iceberg calving into the ocean. In 2008, in a remote part of Greenland, two cameramen managed to record what became the largest calving event ever captured on film. It occurred at the Ilulissat Glacier, which is responsible for producing around 10% of all icebergs that form around Greenland. From this glacier alone, an estimated 35 billion tons of ice flow into the ocean each year. Known for its rapid movement, up to 150 feet per day, the glacier is constantly active, but what unfolded that day was extraordinary even by its standards. Soon after the filmmakers set up their equipment, the glacier's edge began to crumble. Tremors rippled through the ice, triggering a chain reaction as massive sections started to break off and crash into the sea, sending enormous waves across the water. It's almost impossible to grasp the sheer scale of what happened, but experts estimate that the volume of ice released was roughly equivalent to the size of Lower Manhattan and far taller than its highest skyscrapers. The event was a breathtaking reminder of both the raw beauty and immense power of the natural world. Number 12, dam collapse. Dams are built across the world for many purposes, to generate power, store water, or even hold back industrial waste. Brazil's Brumadinho tailings dam, located beside an iron ore mine, was one such structure, used to contain the leftover sludge from ore processing. However, despite a similar disaster occurring at a nearby dam in 2015, little was done to strengthen safety measures afterward. Then, on January 25, 2019, tragedy struck. Just after noon, the Brumadinho Dam gave way under immense pressure, releasing over 423 million cubic feet of toxic mud and debris. The massive wave of sludge tore through the surrounding area, destroying the mine's offices, nearby farms, homes, and everything else in its path. Local residents had no time to escape, and the disaster claimed the lives of 270 people. The devastation didn't stop there. The toxic waste contaminated the soil and polluted hundreds of miles of river systems, causing long-term environmental damage. The footage of the dam's collapse is both horrifying and surreal, serving as a grim reminder of the consequences of neglecting safety for convenience and the urgent need to ensure such a catastrophe never happens again. Number 11. Cricket ball hits a flying fox. Cricket is one of the world's most beloved sports, drawing massive crowds of fans and millions of viewers watching from home. To make the broadcast experience as dynamic as possible, modern cricket coverage often uses advanced camera setups, including the SpiderCam system, which hangs from wires above the field to capture aerial shots. In Australia, it's nicknamed the Flying Fox, and while it's designed to stay clear of the action, that wasn't the case during a 2018 T20 match at the Gabba between Australia and India. Glenn Maxwell stood at the crease ready to face the next delivery, and when the ball was bowled, he struck it with incredible power. But instead of racing toward the boundary, it soared high into the air, completely off course. Stadium cameras followed its flight until, unexpectedly, the ball vanished midair. Moments later, it came crashing down after colliding with the Flying Fox camera itself. The commentators and crowd erupted with laughter, though the players were less amused since it cost them a chance to score. Fortunately, the umpires ruled it a dead ball, allowing the delivery to be bowled again and giving everyone a rare and hilarious cricket moment to remember. Number 10. Biking through New York City. Navigating through the crowded streets of a city like New York can feel impossible, with traffic jams stretching for miles and cars barely moving. But for one daring biker, that congestion became a high-speed obstacle course. In a video that's as thrilling as it is reckless, and absolutely not something anyone should ever try, the rider captures a side of New York few will ever see. Starting in Manhattan, he tears through the streets toward Brooklyn, barely slowing down except when traffic becomes too dense to squeeze through. He darts between cars, swerves around pedestrians, and even passes flocks of pigeons taking flight, all while maintaining an unbelievable pace. The number of near misses is astonishing, yet somehow, he makes it through the 16-minute ride without a single crash. Watching it feels both nerve-wracking and mesmerizing. And it raises the question of just how many others might risk their lives attempting such a dangerous stunt. Number 9. Antares rocket explosion. Despite decades of advancements in space exploration, there's still nothing quite as mesmerizing as watching a rocket launch in person. These events attract huge crowds every time, but occasionally, things go terribly wrong. One such disaster occurred on October 28, 2014, during the 5th launch of the Antares rocket. The unmanned craft was scheduled to lift off from Launch Pad 0A at Wallops Island, Virginia, carrying supplies to the International Space Station. At first, everything seemed to be going smoothly, but just moments after liftoff, a failure in the rocket's first-stage propulsion system caused it to lose thrust and plummet back to the ground. The resulting explosion was massive. The shockwave could be felt up to 20 miles away, and the fire burned throughout the night before finally being extinguished the following day. Thankfully, no one was injured, but the mission's expensive payload, valued in the tens of millions of dollars, was completely destroyed. Number 8. Helicopter stunts. The Bo 105 was a German anti-tank helicopter introduced in 1970, but its incredible agility soon made it famous for something far beyond the battlefield: jaw-dropping aerobatic displays. It was the first helicopter to feature lightweight twin engines and one of the earliest to use a hingeless rotor system. Combined with its highly responsive controls, these innovations gave pilots an unmatched level of precision. In the hands of a skilled and fearless pilot, the Bo 105 becomes a true spectacle. Charlie Zimmerman, renowned for his breathtaking helicopter stunts, has proven just how versatile this machine can be. Watching him in action is unbelievable. He executes full inverted loops, flies just feet above the ground, and weaves effortlessly around trees and obstacles as if the helicopter were an extension of his own body. Pulling off such maneuvers requires extraordinary talent, precision, and nerves of steel, qualities only a handful of pilots in the world possess. Number 7. Burj Khalifa Base Jump. The Burj Khalifa in Dubai stands as the tallest structure on the planet, towering an incredible 2,717 feet into the sky. But simply holding that title wasn't enough. The building's owners often organized jaw-dropping events to keep the world's eyes on their masterpiece. In 2014, they pushed the boundaries even further by partnering with the local skydiving association to pull off an unprecedented stunt. 2 base jumpers leapt from the very top of the tower. The sight was breathtaking. The pair gliding through the air in wingsuits, red smoke trailing behind them as the vast desert city stretched out below. Unsurprisingly, the feat earned them a world record for the highest base jump ever successfully completed. Depending on your perspective, they might be seen as either the bravest or the most daringly reckless individuals alive. Afterward, one of the jumpers remarked that while people often label base jumpers as crazy, all they truly seek is the freedom of flight. Number 6. Multiplying fighter jet. Ryan Melville, a skilled pilot in the Australian Air Force, is no stranger to pushing fighter jets to their extreme limits. Known for his breathtaking aerial stunts, he was invited in 2017 to deliver an electrifying performance at the Gold Coast 600, an annual car race held on a temporary street circuit in Queensland, Australia. But instead of racing on the ground, Melville took to the skies in a Hawk 127 jet, giving the crowd a show they'd never forget. Cockpit footage captures the jet slicing through the air, twisting and diving along the coastline, and flying astonishingly close to the city's buildings. The precision and control on display were incredible, and witnessing a military jet maneuver so low over a densely populated area is something few people ever get to see in their lifetime. Number 5. Makeup. During an earthquake. Makeup tutorials are among the most watched videos online, and just when you think you've seen it all, something unexpected comes along. In this case, beauty vlogger Ali J was filming one of her routine makeup videos on July 8, 2019, completely unaware that she was about to capture something extraordinary on camera. As she calmly began applying her lipstick, the room suddenly started to shake violently. One of the strongest earthquakes of the year had just hit. Naturally, her tutorial didn't go as planned, and the look of shock on her face made it clear she quickly realized what was happening. Thankfully, the tremor lasted only a few seconds, and she escaped unharmed. Still, the odds of something like this occurring during a makeup video are so unlikely that if it hadn't been recorded, few would have believed it. Number 4. Surfing with a shark. Surfing is loved across the globe for a reason. There's no feeling quite like riding a massive wave with the ocean spray in your face and the wind rushing past. But sometimes, that thrill can turn into pure terror. During the 2015 World Surf League Championships, professional surfer Mick Fanning was competing in the Jeffreys Bay, South Africa, when he suddenly felt a sharp pull on his surfboard. Within moments, he realized a shark was attacking him. The terrifying scene was caught on camera, the shark's fin and tail thrashing violently as Fanning fought to defend himself. Acting on instinct, he managed to break free and swim toward the race officials rushing to his aid. Incredibly, just 2 years later at the very same event, he found himself in another shark encounter. After surviving the second attack, he finally made the decision to retire from competitive surfing for good. Number 3. Lightning versus a tree. You've probably heard the phrase, lightning never strikes twice, but when it does strike once, the destruction it causes can be immense. This footage was captured at Bryson Lake Lodge in Quebec, Canada, where guests had been warned to remain indoors due to an incoming storm. A camera was set up to film the storm as it passed, but no one expected what would unfold next. In an instant, a powerful bolt of lightning hit a tall pine tree in the courtyard, blasting it apart and sending splinters and debris flying through the air. The force caused the tree's canopy to collapse onto one of the nearby buildings, damaging its roof. Fortunately, everyone was safe inside, but had they been outdoors, the situation could have ended very differently. Number 2. Sinkhole. Opening in a road. The surface of the Earth might seem completely stable, but what's happening underground can be a whole different story. In some regions, water slowly wears away the rock layers beneath the ground, and once too much of that support is gone, the surface can suddenly give way, creating a sinkhole. Most of the time, this occurs in remote locations, but occasionally it happens without warning in the middle of developed areas. A striking example from Russia shows how severe these events can get. A seemingly solid paved road suddenly collapses beneath a concrete mixer truck, nearly swallowing it whole. Authorities later explained that this was the result of a relatively small sinkhole. If it had been any larger, the destruction could have been far worse. Number 1. Low-flying plane. In January 2019, the people of Nashville, Tennessee were left shocked when a military aircraft soared unusually close to the ground, so low that it appeared to brush the tops of buildings and glide past office windows. The plane kept circling the area for nearly 30 minutes, prompting frightened residents to flood local authorities with hundreds of emergency calls. Later, it was revealed that the incident was part of a training drill ahead of a planned flyover to mark the inauguration of the new governor. However, since no prior announcement was made and the maneuver seemed dangerously reckless, the public reaction was far from pleased. Still, the display of the pilot's precision and control was remarkable, showing just how agile these jets can be. Ironically, the actual flyover for the ceremony was later canceled due to bad weather, meaning the entire exercise and the panic it caused turned out to be for nothing.